News. MC News is Mason Cable Network's morning news program that airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. We'll be discussing the news, have a convergence report, give you a rundown of the events, and end the program with an informative interview. So, how was your weekend, Lauren?
I had an absolutely wonderful weekend. Other than watching the Super Bowl, I was able to attend a private tour of the White House.
Wow.
It was amazing. Got to see the Oval Office, and definitely an advantageous opportunity. How was yours?
It was pretty good. I relaxed a bit, did some homework, and
weekends are
of course I watched the Super Bowl.
I know, go Ravens. Moving on to our first story. One school, one voice. Lobbying for all of the Patriot community, George Mason University student government will be traveling down to the Virginia State Capitol in Richmond on Thursday, February 7th to lobby for the interests of the student body. Specifically, Mason student government will join efforts with the faculty, administration, and alumni to talk about the importance of gaining funds for Mason. Connect to Mason will have a representative covering the day and will be bringing their coverage of the day to the community. They'll be bringing us more information concerning the day and our convergence report, so stay tuned.
For many of the women at Mason, this brings a big opportunity. Panhellenic sorority recruitment began yesterday night with a brief orientation and will go until Friday, the 8th. This spring, 3 out of the 6 Panhellenic sororities, Alpha Xi Delta, or AZD, Alpha Omicron Pi, or AO Pi, and Gamma Phi Beta will be participating in bringing together a new class. Some of the events going on through the week will include AZD's Sweets and Greets from 8 to 9 p.m. in the JC Bistro and Gamma Phi Beta's Walking in a G-Phi Wonderland from 7 to 8:30 in the Hub Ballroom, both going on tonight, along with AO Pi's open house tomorrow at 6 p.m. For those unable to attend orientation, you'll need to email gmusororityrecruitment@gmail.com. For the full schedule of events, you can visit the GMU Panhellenic Facebook page. Later on in the show, we'll be interviewing Fraternity and Sorority Life's graduate assistant, Nancy Schwartz, to explain more on recruitment.
Broadside Mason's student newspaper has been following for 2 weeks now at GMU Problems on Twitter, with the university's Wi-Fi internet connection being one of the most tweeted about issues to the Twitter handle. Complaints on the Wi-Fi have ranged from the connection retention issues to the slow speed of the network in certain areas around campus. Broadside diagnosed some of the issues as the distance your computer is from the wireless transmitter and frequency interference and expired Mason's passwords, among others. If you're having issues with your Wi-Fi, you can tweet at GMU Network, call a campus res tech, or try a wired connection. You can read the full report by picking up this week's Broadside, able to be found at several places around campus.
For on-campus residents out there, this week is one of the most important weeks of the year as well. Yesterday marked the beginning of Mason's housing selection process, with the applications for selection becoming available at 10 a.m. Students who wish to apply for housing must currently be a resident on campus, or if they're not a full-time undergraduate student, they must be one in the fall. According to Housing and Residence Life, groups and individuals with the highest average seniority, mostly juniors and some rising seniors, will be put on their wait list. They anticipate over 400 of these students to be waitlisted. To go through the process and apply, head to housing.gmu.edu/selection and click Submit an Application. From there, you'll be given specific instructions. Log on to your application using your Mason email and password and click on Housing Selection Application on the top left corner of the page. Before you start, you must know who your group leader is, because if you're in a group, everyone must put that person as your leader. But don't worry if you're not, because you can register as an individual. You'll then select your meal plan, put in the number of people in your housing group if that pertains to you, and input your name and G number. After agreeing to the statements on the application and clicking I/we agree on the housing agreement, you and your group are done. Be sure to finish soon because you only have till the 8th at noon to fill out the application. Best of luck, Mason residents.
The Chinese New Year is coming up soon. Falling this Sunday, February 10th of this year. The New Year's celebrations have already begun though. Megan Hughes brings you a report on the celebration that took place this past weekend.
The Office of Diversity, Inclusion, Multicultural Education celebrated the Chinese New Year this past Saturday, February 2nd at Dewberry Hall in the Johnson Center. The celebration included performances from the Chinese culture, including the dragon dance and wushu kung fu. Terry Wong, Mason's international educational cultural consultant, played host to the event.
I just wanted to wish everybody a wonderful, prosperity New Year. Not just Chinese New Year, it's a Western New Year, the New Year you celebrate in any language, in any form, and any culture, but above all, Mason is the best, and we contribute a lot of scholarships, and we hope that you go and talk to all them, and you will know what's available for you. There's also emergency fund I provided as well.
Though the Chinese New Year falls on Sunday, February 10th of this year, this is one of many celebrations that has occurred beforehand. 2013 is the year of the snake, but Terry calls it...
It sounds sneaky, right? So we say the year of the little dragon.
For those who missed this celebration, there will be a gala held in the Center for the Arts, organized by the Chinese American Association on February 10th, the day of the Chinese New Year. Tickets are available at various prices online. This is Megan Hughes for Mason Cable News, wishing you a happy year of the Little Dragon.
C2M is a student-run organization that covers news, arts and entertainment, sports, and opinion at George Mason University. We hope to provide extensive coverage of the stories that are impacting you here at Mason. On Thursday, February 7th, students, faculty, and administration will travel down to Richmond for Mason's annual lobby day, where they will meet with state legislators to discuss funding for the university. Over the past 20 years, a large amount of the university's educational costs have been covered by state funding, but have since fallen substantially. In the past, Mason students and faculty have lobbied separately for different requests. This year, they're making an effort to show united front. Mason will lobby for increasing the university's budget to fund research, provide fair tuition, which will keep tuition rates from rising more than about 2% throughout the students' 4 years, and for higher faculty and staff salaries. University President Angel Cabrera will travel with them on Thursday. In other news, in addition and renovation to Science and Technology 2 building is in its final months of construction. Construction began in 2010 with 100,000 square feet of renovations and 50,000 square feet addition. The addition, which will provide a link between Science and Tech 2 and what is now called Planetary Hall, will house a number of state-of-the-art laboratories for biology and geology research. Construction of the addition was originally slated at $40 million, but has since risen to $52 million. Construction is expected to be completed this spring to be used for classes for this fall semester. You can read more about these topics and other stories on our website at connectmason.com. Thank you. Have a good day.
Now for our event rundown. Later today at 3 p.m. in Hampton Road's multi-purpose room, there will be an information session concerning the housing selection process. For those that missed this morning's story on the process and application, we definitely recommend attending to make sure you don't make any mistakes during this important application. Not only that, you'll be able to get a free Mason mug to make your own. Tomorrow from 12 to 2 p.m. in the Sub 1 Patriots Lounge, we'll play host to the International Cafe, which will feature free teas, snacks, and games from countries such as China, Ecuador, Germany, Iraq, Italy, South Africa, Tunisia. Be sure to stop by to experience the different cultures.
Also, tomorrow there will be a screening of Beneath the Blindfold in the JC Cinema at 4:30 p.m. The documentary is a story on the after effects of torture survivors. When asked about some of the stories featured in the film by MCN News reporter Megan Hughes, co-director, producer, and cinematographer Inez Summers said, "The most traumatic story for me was of a 15-year-old boy named Blama Massaquoi who grew up in Liberia. He was abducted and forced into the military. He was being fed by feeding tubes in Africa. He was basically a child. All of these people, despite their scars, are all about leading productive lives again. The film shows them as people and also shows them finding a life again." Lastly, tomorrow, the College of Humanities and Social Sciences will be hosting Dr. Joseph Nye, who will speak at 9:30 p.m. in Dewberry Hall on his latest research on presidents and their influence on American foreign policy. Dr. Nye was the Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs during the Clinton administration, as well as currently serving as the University Distinguished Service Professor at Harvard University.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Community Interview, our portion of the show where we host live interviews with members of the Mason Nation to give you a look at what they do and also bring you some information on a topic they're knowledgeable in. As Joanne mentioned earlier in our show, sorority recruitment is well underway. Women of the Mason community are going through Panhellenic's process. For our first program, we're joined by Nancy Shorts, a graduate assistant to fraternity and sorority life, to offer us insight into the recruitment process, but also sorority community at Mason. Hi Nancy, how are you?
Good, thanks.
So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
I am the graduate assistant for fraternity and sorority life here at Mason. I'm in my second semester of grad school, studying in the higher education program. I graduated from the University of North Texas last May, and I am also a Kappa Kappa Gamma.
Okay. And so what do you do at the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life?
What don't I do? No, I do a lot, but it's a lot of fun. I help co-advise the Multicultural Greek Council, and then I work individually with 7 different organizations from all 4 of our councils that I advise one-on-one. And in addition to that, I advise our Greek Ambassadors program in our Order of Omega, which is our academic honor society within fraternity and sorority life.
Wow, okay. So this week, a lot of sororities are going through the recruitment process. What can you tell us about the events going on?
Each chapter that is participating, which there are 3 this year participating in spring informal recruitment, Gamma Phi Beta, Alpha Omicron Pi, and Alpha Z Delta, are 3 groups that are recruiting this spring, and they each have a variety of events specific to their chapter. We have a flyer available on Collegiate Link, so if you look at that, it gives a schedule of events for each chapter and who to contact in order to get more information.
Great. And you said that this process started Sunday, right?
Actually, yesterday was our open house. We had 80 women in attendance so far. I believe registration is still open, so you can go onto Collegiate Link, fill out the form, and there you go.
Great. So what's it like being part of a sorority community on campus?
Here at Mason specifically, I think it's really interesting. You get so many different facets here at Mason. I know the biggest thing that I've learned about Mason since I've been here is its diversity, and I think that's completely evident within our sorority community here. You're not going to get your cookie cutter sorority girl. Not that everyone's cookie cutter anywhere else, but I think here at Mason, you really get an awesome experience of meeting some really great women in any of our chapters. So yeah, I think that's probably my favorite part about our community.
And how big is the Greek community on campus?
Right now we range total, not just Panhellenic. Panhellenic I think is about 600, so we make up the majority of our Greek community, but it's around 1,300, which I believe is around 5 to 6% of our undergraduate population.
And is that normal for colleges this size, or?
It just really depends. Greek communities range. This is a very new fraternity and sorority community, so I think we're definitely on par with our growth.
Okay. And Greek life at Mason is kind of different than other schools. We don't have a Greek row. Does that impact the way Greek life is run here?
I think it just depends on how you qualify the word impact. I think the way our students have handled not having a Greek row is excellent. They've really made a great use of their facilities here and really gotten creative with their event programming, how they held their recruitments, and all of those different things. So I don't think that a Greek row is necessarily essential to having a fraternity and sorority community be successful, but I do think it's nice. But definitely I think not having one and the way that our groups do work around those things is what makes them especially unique.
And the Panhellenic groups that are running their recruitment this week, what can you tell us about the individual sororities?
I mean, basically, I like to say that we have 6 and now 7, since we just had a newly added group to our Panhellenic roster. Great groups. They're all going to offer you some of the same things, just maybe they go about it in a different way. But they're all going to offer you a lifetime of sisterhood, opportunities for networking, academic excellence, and opportunities for engagement within our community and the Fairfax and Mason community as well. So generally, those are the things that you can expect when joining a Panhellenic sorority.
Okay. And what about the new group that you said just joined?
Our newest group is Pi Beta Phi. We just recently welcomed them on after a long and arduous expansion, what is the word? Process, I guess you could say. So it is a lot of work to bring a new group on. We do lots of campus interviews. We have lots of national organizations interested in this area. And so we have our community kind of come to an agreement on who they would like to welcome to campus. And we are so excited to have Pi Beta Phi start to colonize and then soon participate in fall recruitment. So that'll be great.
Okay. And is there anything that you'd like to add about sororities on campus or any misconceptions that people have about Greek life?
Oh shoot, I think there's plenty of misconceptions about Greek life, but honestly I think that it is one of the best experiences you can commit yourself to for 4 years. And I think that, a lot of people think it's just buying your friends or joining it, just for a couple of years and then being done with it. But I can honestly say that it's turned into a lifetime commitment for myself as well as a career. I mean, I hope to be an advisor for fraternities and sororities at Mason or at another school, who knows. And so maybe just the misconception that you're just buying in for a little bit, I really believe you're joining an organization for a lifetime that can definitely be life-changing.
Wow. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we hope to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nancy and Kathy, for joining us. Mason Nation, thank you for waking up with us this morning. I'm Lauren Waldron.
And I'm Joanne Smathers for MC News. Be sure to tune in on Thursday at 10 a.m.